Hey guys, when Apple announced the iPhone 12 Pro Max, I was very excited by the numbers. I mean, it has a fast aperture at 1.6 and a sensor that's almost 50% bigger than the iPhone 12 Pro and the 11 Pro. So after my last comparison video, I decided to get the iPhone 12 Pro Max to see if the bigger sensor made a huge difference when it came to low light performance. In this test, I decided to compare it to the iPhone 11 Pro, the Pixel 4a, and the Pixel 4 XL. And just like last time, I shot everything handheld to simulate real-world conditions. Also, this time, I really wanted to push all the cameras to their limits. So instead of going downtown like last time, I went to a nearby park with very dim lighting. Also, if you want to see how the non-Max iPhone 12 Pro compares to the iPhone 11 Pro and the Pixel 4 XL, check out my previous video. Here are the results. The iPhone 12 Pro Max usually goes for a higher ISO and a faster shutter speed versus the 11 Pro, which usually goes for a slightly lower ISO and a slower shutter speed. On the wide angle, it's almost impossible to tell the differences. In a lot of photos, I had to go back and look at the metadata to really be able to tell them apart. Both Pixel phones are pretty much identical when it comes to low light performance. The Pixel 4a takes a little bit longer to process because it doesn't have the neural core chip, but the end result is basically the same. In extreme low light, the Pixels tend to favor cooler tones and the photos are not as bright as the iPhones. However, the time it takes to shoot photos is significantly more. For most photos, the Pixels took almost 3 to 4 times longer than the iPhones when it came to shutter speed. It really shows how outdated the sensor is on the Pixel phones, as it needs much longer to capture the information to produce a good photo in low light. But it also shows how amazing the processing is on Pixel phones. If Google can produce photos this good with a 3-year-old sensor, how amazing can they get with a sensor similar to the iPhone 12 Pro Max? The only differences I could spot were on the ultra-wide cameras, where Apple has added night mode. The ultra-wide cameras are basically the same on both phones, but Apple has added night mode on the ultra-wide, which makes it look like a massive leap in terms of image quality. I'm pretty sure if Apple really wanted, they could have enabled it on the 11 Pro, but they needed to make the 12 series look much better in comparison. Same thing goes for portrait mode. Apple enabled night mode on the 12 Pro series in portrait mode, but this isn't available on the 11 Pro. I will say that the LiDAR sensor helps a lot with depth perception, which is something I also covered in my last video. Since I was shooting with the Pixel 4 XL and the 4a, I didn't have access to portrait mode with night sight, which at the time is only available on the Pixel 5. On the selfie front, there isn't much difference either. Apple has a nice trick up their sleeve with the front camera. By default, the screen gets pretty bright on the 12 Pro Max when taking a selfie in extreme low light. On the 11 Pro, it doesn't work by default, but you can get pretty similar results by turning on the flash on the 11 Pro, and the same thing goes for the Pixel phones. So overall, my thoughts are pretty much the same as they were in my last video. The iPhone 12 Pro Max does not show a noticeable improvement. There is a slight advantage when it comes to shutter speed, so you might get slightly better photos when taking photos of moving objects like kids or pets, but it's not a big difference in my opinion. But if you have an older phone, then yes, it is a big difference and it's one of the best cameras you can get. And if you care about camera quality, but you don't want to get the iPhone 12 Pro Max, I'd say the 12 Pro is basically just as good. So you don't have to deal with the massive size of the 12 Pro Max. And if camera quality is all you care about, but you can't afford the latest flagships, I'd say the Pixel 4a is really good. It is just as good as the Pixel 4 XL, and it's almost as good as the iPhones. Also, if you live in an area with a really good used market, maybe look into a used iPhone 11 Pro. For example, in Toronto, you can get the iPhone 11 Pro for about half the price of the iPhone 12 Pro. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and please subscribe for more technology and photography content.